The definition of conviction is a firmly held belief. Leadership looks different for each person, but every leader has strong convictions that pave the way for how they guide their people. Whether you're an experienced leader, a current leader, a novice leader, or a soon-to-be leader, this podcast is a must for you. Through this show, you will hear leaders share their convictions, the struggles they face, and the challenges they have overcome by staying true to their convictions. Leadership can be hard and it can be lonely. I aim to connect you with leaders who have walked the journey and want to show others the way. This is Beau Vincent, and you're listening to The Conviction of a Leader. Welcome back to The Conviction of a Leader. This is Beau Vincent, and I am excited to have a great friend, fellow coach, fellow insurance agent, Daniel Austin on the show today. What is up, my good buddy?
Good, man. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Are you? Yes. You know, I feel like it's been 2 years coming, and that's because it has been.
It has been, yeah.
So
conflicts, man. Busy schedules. I get it.
Yeah, both of us. So I'm going to introduce you, Daniel, like I do at the beginning of every episode. I want our listeners to take a 1 second, turn on the auto downloads, all the notifications wherever you listen. Listen, it means so much to me in the conviction of a leader if you would just turn on the auto downloads on Apple and on Spotify, and then it will alert you when every episode comes out Wednesday morning. Daniel has been married to Sarah. They started dating in 2005. Oh my Lord. And they've been married since 2012. They have one son, Isaac, and soccer is life for Isaac. I see it all over Facebook, Instagram. This kid loves it. He plays competitive soccer. He watches soccer almost every single day. And his favorite player is Messi. Is it Messi?
Messi, yes, sir.
Or Christian?
No.
What is it? Ronaldo?
No, it's Messi.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Before insurance, I worked at Gander Mountain. Not me, actually. Daniel did for 5 years. He was in customer service, receiving stock, and took over credit card sales. He became an all-state sales producer in 2011 for a local agent. Bought his first agency in 2017, second in 2019, his third in 2023. He's now over $14 million in premium, 12 staff members, 1 manager, 4 service, 7 sales. He became a CWC coach alongside of me in 2022. We started very close to each other. He started out teaching social media classes and spending time in groups teaching social media to agency owners. Then Daniel and I started a COI class that went on to do 3 different 6-week classes throughout that year of 23. And it was a very successful class. Now Daniel is a mentor coach with CWC. In the spare time, he spends time watching UFC, which is his favorite, spends time with the family, which is probably more of a favorite than the hunting side and the UFC. He loves to duck and turkey hunt, and he loves going into the mountains. He likes watching sports with Isaac, and he loves talking to a text group called the Three Musketeers with Beau, Jeremy Wolcott, and Daniel Austin. Welcome to the show, my buddy.
Thanks, man. I love that bio.
I'm so glad you're here.
Did you write that?
Oh, listen. Yeah, no, ChatGPT wrote it for you, and then you sent it.
Okay.
What probably happened. So, so let's start out with some basics. Okay, we all know you're in insurance. It started in 2017 is when you became an agency owner, but we want to hear about this journey between 2011 to 2017. Why did you decide to buy an agency?
Well, very early on in my insurance career, meaning like within 1 month, I realized what insurance meant and what we're actually there to do. So I got into insurance in like sales. Like, hey, I'm just going to sell, like natural salesperson, right? And I was going to be a top producer. That's all I cared about. I started April
Yeah.
1st, 2011. April 27th, 2011. 27 days later after I started, we had the largest tornado outbreak in the Southeast. Alabama,
No
Georgia,
way.
Tennessee,
Wow.
North Carolina, just hundreds. I think three, 400 tornadoes over a 2 day span. So within 1 month, I realized what insurance meant. Those next 6 months
Wow.
was a blur. It really was. I mean, being new
No
into it
doubt.
and doing all that. And so I realized like what we do matters. And this is something I
Oh
can see
yeah.
long term growth in because I want to be able to, be there for the people when they need us the most. So my early stages of
I
going
love
through
that.
that really opened my eyes up of what insurance actually means, what it actually does. And so that's that. Very quickly, I
Sheesh.
realized I'm going to stay in this long term.
I love that. I love that. So I don't love that people had to suffer for you to learn it, but I do love that you got to experience that and realize that, wow, this is something that I can do long term that can help other people. And I think, Daniel, this is something we don't talk about enough, like on why people get into insurance. Now, I've talked to Scott Bisco, I've shared my story, you're sharing your story. I think it's important for others to hear. But how important is it to find value in insurance when you are running an insurance agency owner? If you look at it strictly as income and a business, but you forget the fact that it is really important to people, how important is it to not lose track of that?
I know, yeah, and I even look at that like I don't. I'm lucky enough to say I don't know a lot of other agency owners that are like that. I know a lot that are the same
Yeah,
mindset as
it's
me.
true.
You have those ultimately you have the premium chasers. That's all they care about.
Mhm.
My
Yes.
circle and my circle as far as like within the country of the agents that I know, we're all on the same page with this. It
Yeah.
matters more. I sleep better at night, a whole lot better at night, knowing that we did the right
Mm.
thing throughout the day. We're not chasing premium, right?
So
We're
true.
we're protecting
So true, man.
consumers, protecting our customers, and that helps me sleep better at night. And I think having a network of other agents like yourself and many of others that we're mutual friends with, having that same mindset,
Yeah.
it just helps us to make sure we stay on track with what we're wanting to do here. So I think it's very important. I
Man,
mean,
it's so true.
there's the premium chasers out there, but man, I couldn't sleep at night
Yeah.
knowing I did that.
No. See, and that was the beginning of why I got into insurance was the feeling you're talking about and understanding how valuable and what insurance actually did for people in times of need. I think most people lose track of what insurance really is and what it's for because they're fortunate enough to not have accidents and claims and tornadoes and hurricanes hit them. But when they do, Daniel, we've never met anybody who like begged us for less coverage
Right?
ever,
Yeah.
right? No one's ever like, man, why did I pay you so much?
And when the if knock on wood it never happens, but if that time comes, you're going to realize
Yes,
that 1 hour conversation we had 5 years ago of why you need these higher limits is going to make sense.
man.
And I, again, kind of what you said, I hate that people got hurt to realize that for my, going up here. Same with this. I hate for there to be a claim,
But I think like,
but
yeah,
when there is, that's our time to shine.
that was the good that came out of it.
Yeah.
And since then, so like this bad situation, something great came out of it is you understood the value. And now guess what? You educate so many people across America and inside of your own agency. So you've shared the value and shown the value of insurance, which I think is extremely important. So you've used a bad situation to make a lot of great out of it. So Daniel, I think a lot of people listening are going to be interested to know like how did this guy like I don't know. This doesn't sound the wrong way. How did he afford to start an agency, go from sales, retail, into sales, into ownership? And what's that journey like? How did your owner respond? Who helped you, supported you from 2011 to 2017 that really helped you in this journey? Like saying, I know I want to be in insurance now, but I ultimately want to own my own. So where'd you get that help?
Yeah.
Who
So
showed you the
it was a
way?
few people. I think from 11 to 2017, the agency owner I worked for and his son was the manager. He ran
Hmm.
the agency. They taught me everything I need to know. They were the ones that
That's
taught me
amazing.
how to put the customer first. Like they're not premium chasers, right? So they taught me like
Yeah.
how to be a successful producer, which in turn would make me a successful owner. And so
Yeah.
And so I mean, they kind of molded me for 6 years there of how to do this. I mean, they were an open book. Where do the agents make their money, right? Where do we have the biggest issue? What's a good retention rate? What's a good contact rate? What's a good close rate? Like, they taught me what to know. So could I
Mm.
have done it earlier than waiting 6 years? Probably, but I probably wouldn't have been as successful if I didn't spend as much time as I did with them. So I mean, I give them a
That's
lot of
great.
credit on teaching me the ins and outs of this business. Now it's time to open the doors. Now it comes down to
Mm.
Sarah, my wife, and my parents. Like, my support system when we opened the doors was just amazing. My parents were able to help me out and
Mm.
just kind of help me get up and get going, and then to be able to just have someone on the other side, and to be able to go home and have someone that supports me at home as well. It just it makes everything easier when you
So
have that
true.
network. And so, early on, I give a lot of credit to the agency owners, agency owner manager I worked with, and
Yeah.
now it's starting off. It's my parents and Sarah. That support group,
Well,
and now it's
shout
my
out.
team.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to them. And now it's my team. Like, my
Yes.
team keeps me motivated now to keep
Mm.
doing, keep going and going. So it's kind of been transitional with every stage of this journey. I've had different support systems throughout, but starting off, it was
Yeah.
definitely the two that I worked for. They were amazing people.
Yes. Yes. I love hearing about that. There's a lot of agency owners that listen that are maybe scared, um, that their team may hear this and think, "Oh, I could do what Daniel's done, and maybe I should buy an agency in a couple years." And like, what advice do you have as an agency owner now that, say there was a young Daniel Austin in your agency? What advice do you have for them?
Is you've got to take the leap. I think for the last few years, I was kind of nervous about owning and running a business. I'm in my low 20s at the time, and when I was getting started and going up,
Mm.
and like, I had a lot of times that maybe, I mean, I know I could have jumped off and started an agency. Maybe I could have bought one. I don't know at
Yeah.
that point, but I finally had to just take that leap. And so I had a good field sales leader,
Mm.
FSL, that came to me and it's like, "Hey, I've got 2 books available. Which one?" And she pushed me to, like, "You need to do this. Like, you're going to be good at
To
this. You
buy.
need to do
Yeah.
it." But it's taking that first leap. I'm so glad I did. If not, I don't even know where I would be right now. I mean, I would probably still say insurance,
Hey.
but I'd probably be working for you, right? So, yeah, you got to
Yeah.
take that leap in faith. It's a lot. I mean, being in your mid 20s and saying, "I'm going to open a business" in your mid 20s, it's just scary. Financially, you just don't even know what to
Yeah.
expect. And so, you know, if I had to say something, just take that leap, have the experience, and
Yeah.
take the leap for sure.
Yeah. Such great advice. I actually use similar advice for selling, but it's great advice for business
Mm,
owners. The similar type of advice is, don't let your fear hold you back from a yes
yeah,
or getting a no. So sometimes people are so afraid of the no and the failure that they never even take the chance. So what I mean in the sales side is that they don't even assume the sale. They don't try to overcome the objection because they're afraid of the no. But if they never get past the no, they'll never get to the
yeah,
yes. That's just the way it works. So if you're afraid of the risk and the failure, you're never going to get to the other side of where you actually would like to
yeah.
be. And Daniel, I don't think anybody wants to fail, but let's just say there's an agent out there that wants to potentially be an owner. Could can they recover if they fail from this? Can they come back? How many agents do you and I personally know
Oh, I've known a
that
lot.
have
I've
failed
known a
that
lot
have
that
come
just gotten out of
back?
the business and came back.
Hmm.
Maybe they did it wrong the first
Yes,
time,
me too.
but I know a lot of
Hmm.
people even more that maybe they had a really bad year, and then next year they're maxing out everything.
Yeah,
I mean, it could be within the position,
it's true.
without, but I mean, Bo, I mean, gosh, dude, I don't know how many agents I've seen over the last 6, 7 years that have actually left insurance and they're already back in it.
Yeah.
And they're
Ugh.
thriving. You learn from the mistakes. Like,
I
I actually know
I
that
would.
now.
Yes, yes. I mean, I can think of almost 5 right off the top of my head that started an agency as an
Yeah,
owner, failed, got out of ownership, sold TPP, whatever they did in their captive world, and came back, and now they're thriving. And it's crazy to think, but sometimes people need to fail to win.
Yeah.
I actually heard something this morning, Daniel, about how people that were born with no failure, no struggles, and they just find wins all the time. There's not a lot of like pride in that.
Yeah.
Like they don't have even pride about it. It's like second nature. But there's something about um, guys that learn and gals that learn to fail and overcome failure consistently because they are taking on huge things that and goals and dreams that they fail at, and then they have to learn to deal with that and try again. So I think if you've not finding failure out there, you're probably not making your goals big enough,
Exactly.
and your dreams are still inside of your head.
100%.
So
Yeah, I
Daniel,
agree.
that's a great. So I want to pull out a couple key points too. One, you said you had support outside of work, which is so big. Sarah's awesome. I know her personally. I mean, I don't know anybody that doesn't think she's sweet and like her. So Sarah's awesome. Your parents obviously supported you. Then you have a great agency and culture and people to rely on. You had a great contact at corporate. So take Daniel's advice, and you kind of need all of that.
Hmm.
And if you think you're going to do it with just the support of, the big company, it's not going to work very well. If you think you're going to do it with no support from your agency owner, it's going to be tougher. If you're going to do it without the support of your spouse or your parents, it's going to be tougher. It doesn't mean you can't make it, but having all these things lined up may also be a timing thing, Daniel. If you pushed it 5 years earlier, would you have gotten the same support from the owner, from your wife, from your parents, from Allstate? If they said, Daniel, you've only been doing this, 14 months, man, are we sure this is the right call for you? So it's kind of cool to hear how your journey all came together. I think it's a great example for others. What do you
I
think? You
agree.
think?
Sorry, I was taking a drink.
In the middle of your
Yeah.
drink?
No, I agree. And I
I know.
don't, like
It's
I said,
okay.
I don't think I could do this any earlier because I wouldn't have had the experience for
Yeah.
one, right? I probably wouldn't have, I mean, I would have the support at home with the family and everything like that, but it's
Yeah.
hard to give a lot of support when you've only been in it for a little bit and you're fixing to do this large operation, So I think the timing just
Yeah.
worked out for a reason. It really did.
And having support at home is huge because let me explain why. When you are in a down month, down year, certain people that never supported your vision, dream, journey in the first place will be the first ones to tell you, maybe it's time to hang it up. Maybe you should sell and go back to working for somebody. So, understanding that support system is important, but also like telling them your vision and not just keeping it in your head. My vision is, even if it sounds crazy, Daniel, when I first came to the agency, I told a couple people that were already agents, I said, I'm going to be 10 million in 10 years. And they laughed. They're like, I've been around 20 years and I'm 3 mil. So like, they just kind of laughed. And the funny part is it took 5 years, half as long as I thought. But what if I would have listened to them and said, maybe I should shoot for 3 mil in 10 years and listen
Look
to
at that.
them? I'd be in a much different spot. And I didn't know I was going to make it in 5. I didn't have the knowledge of the industry. Plus, a lot of things have changed to my favor actually during that time. So we just never know. And we have no idea what the next 5 will be. So I think it's huge to really set your mind on a goal, write it down, follow your dreams and your goals, and have the support system around you. If you don't have a full support, this is where like coaches like Daniel and I come in, is where let us show you what we've done to get
Hmm.
here. And it may feel weird if you've never paid somebody to help you, but I will tell you this. Have you ever given advice, Daniel, to somebody for free and they didn't listen to you and they kept asking for
Oh, yeah.
advice and they didn't listen to you? They kept asking for
Yeah.
advice.
Sometimes even the
And
paid
the
ones,
first time
even the ones
that
that
they
pay
paid you,
me, So, but
yeah, even the paid
a
ones,
lot of
yeah.
times the people that don't work with you and they just want, what are your thoughts on this? This is what you should be doing. This is exactly what you should be doing, and they don't do it. And they
Yep.
fail, and then I'm not saying that you have to listen to me on every little thing, but if you ask, what's my approach on this, and I give it to you, and I think beneficial. I mean, it's gonna be beneficial to you and your agency. You got to go towards it, right? And you talked about goals,
I
man. Like
totally
I'm big
agree.
on like talking out loud about your goals. I know some people are like, keep your goals to yourself. Not me. Like I want to tell you goals
Same
because I
way.
want people to hold me accountable for my goals. Okay. It's a lot easier for
Yep.
me to back out of my goals if no one else knows. If people know, I
Hmm.
can't back out of these goals. I know I got a team, I
Huh.
got friends, family, agents who are going to push me to these goals. But if I don't tell them, they won't know what I'm going after. They'll think I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm
Mm.
content, and I'm not.
So funny. Same here, dude. I'm the same way. I actually speak it all the time. Like, so, like, you and I have bought in several other agencies too. I'm the same way. I would say I'm going to buy another agency before I was approved. I'm going to buy one in June. My goal is to buy one in June. And people will be like, are you approved yet? Well, no, I'm not approved, but I'm going to buy one in June because that's my goal is to be approved to buy one. And guess what? I bought one in July and I was talking in January about, buying one. So it happens when you speak it, when you make it a goal. Other people hold you accountable, you hold yourself accountable. It's you're putting it out there to them. I believe that by the time you're speaking it, Daniel, you've already thought about it,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
So you ever heard that saying, thoughts become words, words become
yeah.
actions, actions become habits, habits become your character, character becomes your destiny. So I think that when you're speaking and taking actions, you've already thought about it, and you've thought about it for way longer than you've talked about it. So it's just you finally are letting the world know. Because guys like you and I, we have millions of thoughts a day. I
Mhm.
know, I mean, millions of goals, ideas, and I think it's important to really put those down. So I want to ask you a question,
Yeah.
Daniel. So in leadership, I know, like, I want to get into like your culture and leadership within the agency now, because I know you personally. I know one of your leaders, Jeremy. I know Sunshine. I know a lot of great employees from your agency. You guys just have such a fun culture. We have a very similar fun culture in our agency. We are not premium chasers, although we want to write a lot. We do not sacrifice the ethics of the business in order to get it. We love insurance, but we love people more. We are educators of insurance. We are not salesmen of insurance. And I have the saying, selling is not about convincing, it's about
Yeah.
educating. When you understand people's wants and needs, you can fulfill them. And that's actually how you make sales. So within your agency, I want to hear some of the convictions of a leader that you carry, your strongly held beliefs that have carried you through as you've been an agency
I
owner.
think leading, as far as leading on my team, leading with empathy
Mm,
goes a long way,
great.
right? I think that's, I mean, and like you said, I care a lot about my culture and I care about, the team and I want to make sure everyone's having fun. But I always believed and have an understanding of valuing like their perspective as a team, like on a personal level.
Yeah.
I want to know what's
Mm,
going on. If you want to open up to me, I have an open door, right? So,
yes.
leading and guiding and helping my team and realizing, supporting, encouraging, and challenging them, like even on a personal level. Like we talk about, um, like benefits for like the team. Like, what are some fun things that we can do to push the team? So one,
Yeah.
like we offer like a gym membership, but
I love
you
that.
have got to use it a certain amount of times a month, or we're going to take it away. So we're going to push you
That
to
makes
put
sense.
fitness as part of your life. We're looking at wellness like next year. Like we're going to have wellness. We're going to have a life coach. We want a nutritional and a life coach in the office to meet with every team member once a month. Say, what are your goals for your life? What are your goals for your health? Let's talk about nutrition. We got the gym membership. They're going to push and
Yeah.
do that. So we're all about like I want to understand more on a personal level of what encourages you. And so I think my leadership style is really just going off and leading with empathy the best I can. I
Mm,
think that's been our success. I care about my staff
yeah.
more than I don't know. I can't say more than a lot of other people that might, because I know a lot of agents who are just amazing at what they do. But I truly care what is going on their personal level, because we have off
Hmm.
days. I've got off days. They have off days. I want to make sure this is a place where they don't have an off day, or if they are having an off day, this kind
Yeah.
of clears their mind being here at the office. And so we have a lot of fun in what we
So,
do in our day to
so
day.
true. So, and I love that you do that. It just gave me a thought because Daniel, a lot of times I feel like my job on the podcast is to ask questions, get you to talk, and then help maybe put it into an actionable step, add a little bit of my advice to it. But if you're listening and you feel maybe you're not a naturally empathetic person. And I know some people that they struggle to think about other people's feelings. And it's not because they're heartless. It's just because naturally maybe that's not how they're geared or made to. But I think there's something great about putting other people's feelings first. And Daniel, we had a little bit of an off month last month, and we finished the month strong. And I thought, okay, here's the momentum came back. And we had two trips, last in September, and we took them, and I brought my leaders with me. I don't know if I told you this, but the first week of September when we were in Vegas, we had two of our girls go out, two of our LSPs go out and have a baby. Like, so they went out on maternity leave while we were gone. And then so it just kind of like, you remove two people that have such a heartbeat within a culture, it changes
Yeah.
things. And I love like what you said. So come the first of this month, I'm thinking it'll take off and fly again because we're on momentum. And it was almost like it was still moving slow. So I thought, I'm going to reach out to each person individually and just say, what's up? How are you? How you feeling? What's going on? And what's crazy is that almost everybody had something pretty important going on in their life. One of the other LSPs in our agency is now pregnant and has some morning sickness. One was dealing with like the death of her father because it was the anniversary of her dad's passing, and she takes care of her mentally challenged sister. And it's just a lot was weighing on her right now. And it was just, you go through the list and everybody has something. And Daniel, I learned a long time ago, and I love saying this, is that, I've never asked a mother, a father to leave being a mother at the door, or a father and be an employee today. It's no one would
Yeah.
ever choose employee. Well, not, I would never choose the employer over my child or my wife. So it is like, it's that advice, Daniel, of like, how do you help somebody deal with life when it's not easy and still perform at work, right? Because we all have obligations. Unless you're ultra rich, you still have to perform work to make money. So, Daniel, you've done a lot of great things. I've seen from a distance. You bring in a distant. You bring in masseuse, you gym membership, you have a lot of fun days. So what kind of advice can you give to people that you've added here and there that does help outside of the gym membership, like some of the fun stuff you do?
So I'll tell you one, which is next week, and so that's why I'm bringing it up. But next week we have
Oh,
our annual
sweet.
Spirit Week. So just like we have in high school, back in high school we have a Spirit Week, and every day we dress up different and we do fun things. So next week is our Spirit Week. We do it every October, and so every day we're going to dress up differently. Every day there's a different promotion for my sales and service team. We also have a desk decorating contest that'll be judged at the end of the week, kind of like we used to do in hallways back in high school. So I just
I
got that
love
from there.
that.
But these are the things that my team looks forward to. Are these just fun, outside the box kind of ideas that you would never think a business would be doing this kind of stuff.
Mm,
And so, one our big theme for this year is retro, like '90s. So we're back a lot of neon
mm.
colors and fanny packs and all that kind of stuff. So I give everyone money to go buy everything because especially nowadays, I don't want to host a week long event and then put it on them to have to go out and buy all these things. But I want it to be successful
Yeah.
for the agency and the culture. And so I give everyone money. They go out, they order their outfits, and there's pajama day and retro day, and then we're doing a pink out day for October and breast cancer awareness. So we have
Ha, I
Wednesday.
love it.
I think it's Wednesday. We're wearing all pink, right? And so it's just a lot of fun things that we try to do to break up the everyday. We also do like every
Cool. I
month is a
love that.
different promotion. Every month, I'm going to
Yes.
say, this is what we're going after this month, and here's some extra money. Here's extra time off. Here's gifts. Tell me what you want on Amazon. I'll buy it for you. So every month
Yes.
it's something different. We break up. If you don't have these things in place, it can get stale in your business.
Yeah.
And so
Can.
I don't want staleness. And so we try to just be, how encouraging it is if you just go to Starbucks and just buy everyone their drinks and just show up and surprise them.
Hmm.
That
Yeah. One
$18 will
time I
save
I
their
did
day.
that. One time I did that and I drove to all of my remote people's houses across America and it took me 3 weeks, but it was worth
3
it.
weeks.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
Well,
kidding.
it took me like
But
15
I,
minutes,
I
but
I agree. Like, yeah, no, Daniel does that. And Daniel, you still have like, and I think some people listen to this and like Daniel, because there's not very many people who have gotten to your size working in house. If we're being honest, like most people that are your size and bigger, my size bigger, are fully remote. So what do you think?
I have
Like tell me about like your vision and how it works like in-house for some people think it may
I
not,
th to me, in-house will always trump remote when building a culture because I haven't had
Yeah.
success with it the other way. I know other you like just you in general. Like I know you have had a lot of success being remote and having a good culture. Like to me though, I have not had success with that. In person, I've got one remote employee right now. In person, the culture is just easier for me to maintain. It's easier for me to do. Like we do a lot of social media as well. It's hard to do social media in putting my staff on social media if we're not together and stuff. So I've for me, mine's always been in house, right? Just because I
Mm,
tried remote at one point and it wasn't as successful as I wanted it to be. So I basically shut it all down except
yeah.
one and brought everyone back in office, right? It just works better for me as an agency owner, especially with the fun that we try to have and the content for social media. Just having
Oh
people
yeah.
in office just seems better for my fit.
I don't disagree. Like there's some huge benefits to both sides. I do think culture in-house makes things just a little bit easier to do in some ways, but there are some challenges in-house, and it's funny that you mentioned some things because I didn't realize I had some of these pet peeves until I worked in an agency with people for only 6 months, by the way, because COVID hit 6 months, 6 months after I opened. But I have some little pet
Yeah,
peeves, like, you know, it's funny to say like people that, hiccup too much, people that like, it's my wife hates that I have these pet peeves, by the way, hiccup.
I got them too.
They, are snorting, coughing, making, too consistent, smoking a cigarette every hour. Like I start, I can't, some of those things I don't have to deal with now because I'm like, I don't know what they're doing at home. I trust that they're doing the right thing based on metrics and, Zoom and whatnot. But I don't know, like if they're smoking a cigarette every hour, coughing, hacking, hiccuping, and honestly, it's made those little things much easier for me in the agency. And honestly, Daniel, when you see people every day, there's that thing of like, I love going in to see so and so,
Mhm.
and then there's sometimes those times where like Daniel's just been kind of annoying me lately, like so, or Beau, let's say
Yeah,
Beau.
yeah,
So I think, and you know what's funny about people that get irritated with other people? It's typically something inside of them,
yeah,
or it's not usually the other person, but or there's unspoken, frustration that needs to be addressed.
yeah.
And Daniel, how do you deal with, let's talk about, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with the drama and the gossip and all the things that can be detrimental to a great culture? How do you deal with those things?
You take care of it in the very early stages of it. You don't let it go too long without addressing the concerns. And we
Yes.
always have that.
Mm,
If you are in office, even remote, I'm sure you could still have some, but in office, drama will always be one of the biggest issues as an owner, as a business owner, to control. We have don't gossip. If you
dang.
gossip, I will. I'll open your door. I'll walk you out. I'll open your car door, and you can go home for the day. Like that. That's just it. Like you gotta hit it early on
Yes,
before it gets bad. And it could be gossip,
I agree.
in person or just after hours and stuff, and then it gets back to the office and stuff. And so that kind of thing, those things have got to be addressed early on.
Mm,
Pet peeves, like I've got some of those too, and it's just like I just got to cut my mind off. I just got to turn my mind off. If it's something,
yeah,
if I can't control it, there's nothing I can do about it. I can't dwell on it. You know, one of my pet peeves
I
though is
agree.
this closet door out here. They don't close it. And so I've got 9 rubber bands on the door handle so it'll automatically close because they won't close the closet door. That bothers me. So that one I can fix. I can fix that pet peeve. But there's a lot of others I
Yes.
can, and I sit back and I said, you know what? There's probably a lot of pet peeves that they have that I do, and they're quiet about. I just,
Hmm.
it's part of life. It's part of working with people.
Yeah.
It's out of your control. So there's
Hmm.
nothing you can do about it. Just focus on yourself and focus on what you're doing. Try to have a successful day
So
with what
true.
you're trying to do. But some things I try to address though, for sure. That closet door is one of the big
I
ones
love
I
it.
have.
Yeah.
Kills me.
Approaching and speaking to them directly when you first hear it is big because we have non-negotiables about gossip and drama, and being positive is one of them, because like the other side of like is like, I may not call it drama, gossip, speaking badly about somebody, but people that are just negative. These leads stink. I hate that we have to do this. Like, so the negative talk is another big one too.
Yeah.
Is that I I start out I do an orientation with each person that starts, and I like to say we have an open door policy. But let me explain what that means, Daniel. I like to praise in public, reprimand in private. Daniel, I'm not going to embarrass you in front of the whole team as a bad example. I'm just not going to do that. And I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to be unprofessional to you in a public setting, but we will take it private as we need to. So I would ask you, Daniel, to not be a yes man, but to tell me the truth. And there are good times and places to do that. I'm not saying you can't ask questions in a meeting when we roll it out or on a Zoom or in person, but I would prefer, if you want to poke holes and destroy what I or a leader has put together, that you would do that, one on one privately. Because if you wouldn't appreciate the other way of me critiquing and destroying you in front of everybody else. So that's what I explained to them day one. Like, hey, here's how it's going to work. You want to tell me my breath stinks and you hate me? That's fine. Let's do it one on one. I can handle it. Like, so my breath stinks through Zoom. I don't know how that's possible, but let's do
Yeah.
this. Okay. But I think the other thing too is like teaching, I teach them that I do try to forgive and
Mhm.
forget. So if we document somebody, write them up, we don't want to hold that over their head forever. They know it's there. They know the
Yeah.
consequences. We want them to come in and feel important. The other side too, as a leader, listen, all the leaders out there, shut your mouth after you reprimand somebody. I don't want you walking around your agency acting like you're a tough guy because you just wrote somebody up. Don't worry, Daniel. I took care of Jeremy and his attitude. You won't have to deal with that again. And if he does, don't worry. He's out. And it's like you think that's good for culture, but what it tells your employees is that you are a
Yeah.
gossiper and you're wearing it with pride that you reprimanded somebody. And if I was that person, I'd think, wow, does he tell everybody about me when he
Exactly.
reprimands me?
Exactly.
So the thing is, leaders got to lead by example. How many out there, Daniel, are gossiping and then they to us about other agents, and then they're like, man, our office is so gossipy, and I'm like, oh, wonder why.
Yeah.
Like,
Same reason.
so
You're over here gossiping about them.
yeah.
I agree. I agree. I think there's a lot of things that you have, like you said, you have to show through leadership for them to understand.
Oh
It
yeah.
even goes back to like, and I hear agents talk about this, like, your mindset when you walk in, even if it's not gossiping, just like your attitude when you walk in. If you walk in with a negative attitude because you had a bad morning at home or you got some road rage or whatever, and you walk in the office pissed off, your team's going to feed off of that, and they're not going to be excited to be there
So
anymore.
true.
If you walk up positive, who
Man.
cares what happened? When you hit the door, be a better person. So when you walk in
Mm,
the office,
I
no matter
like it.
what happened, as a business owner, be upbeat, positive. Go to every office and talk to every single person. Hey, how are you doing? Hope you have a good night. Go to bring the positivity in, and that's going to feed off of them. But if you come in pissed off or
Mm.
bored or tired and all that, they're going to take after that, and it's not going to be a good day.
I've been saying this for 2 years because one of my guests told me. I don't know where he got it, but as the agency owner, as the leader, we need to be the therm thermometer. No, thermostat. Sorry,
Yeah.
thermostat. No, thermometer. What? I'm backwards. Sorry, we need to be the thermometer or thermostat. Gosh, I'm gonna be
Am
like,
I taking
I'm gonna tell
temperatures or
my
showing me
podcast
temperatures?
producer, I'm gonna be like, hey man, I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna clap and I need you to just remove these last 15 seconds. No, I'm just kidding. So this is raw, this is real, this is what we
Yeah.
do. So the thermostat, which means it goes up in, or the thermostat you set the
Yep.
culture. I am this guy. And a lot of times we turn it up, 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 up. We don't want to be the thermometer where we're hot one day, cold the next day. We're on fire because we had good sales and we're so happy. The next day we have no sales and we're yelling at everybody and we're a jerk. You don't want to be that guy. It shows them that you're inconsistent. Daniel, inconsistent people can't be trusted.
Yep.
Can you trust somebody that's
No.
inconsistent? Somebody that's like a loose cannon? They're going to be the
It's
guy
tough
that's
to
like
build
riding a
trust.
roller
Yep,
coaster.
it's tough to build trust with
Yeah.
those people. It really
Oh
is,
man.
and so that's a
Very.
great way to put it. A thermostat, right? But set your
Not the
temperature, set your
thermometer.
goals, set
Yes.
your culture, and work your way up, and don't go back
Yeah.
down. Always up, always up.
We heat it
Yep.
up. Yeah, exactly. And it changes. And what's amazing to me is the level. And you're in a boat like this too. You're 2 years ahead of me of ownership. So what's crazy is our culture continues to turn up because we have people that we're retaining longer and longer, and they're getting better and better, and they've gotten this training and knowledge over the years to where, I might have dealt with, let's say, 20 items minimum in the past. I might be saying 40 now. So it's a different level of expectation because I'm turning it up because of the level of people we have, leads, training.
Yeah.
I'm better
Yeah.
at it too. My leaders are
Yeah.
better. So it's true. So tell me, Daniel, walk us through some of your uh like growing pains through acquisitions and taking steps. And what kind of growing pains did you run into, if any, and how did you resolve
Yeah,
them?
I think I think a lot was early on. A few things I can talk about on this, but early on, my struggle was I was not setting clear expectations for my staff.
Mhm.
And I think that
Mm,
hurt me the first few years. I mean, we've been award winning, year after year, even my first few years,
mhm.
but not having clear expectations written out hurt me in a lot of different ways with the staffing and goal setting
Yeah.
and the way we run our business and all that. And so it wasn't until a few years later where I actually have like an official handbook written out. We have our handbook, and then we also have a secondary handbook, basically, of all of our processes. If I don't
Mm,
write them out and I don't set expectations, there's always ways around it, and they don't know what to
yeah.
do because they don't know what their expectations are. So
Yeah.
that was
I
one of the
always
big
say
things I
if
did
it's not
early
written
on. I
down,
did
it's
not
not
set
real.
clear expectations, right?
Mm,
And I could even go back to even like
yeah.
myself. Like I just know like I'm going to grow. I just want to grow, right? What does that look
Yes.
like? What is growth, right? Is it
Hmm.
policies? Is it premium? Is it staff? Is it locations? What is growth? Did I set that out and put it out there clear as day for me to understand, for everyone else to understand?
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
Also, I think I mean, growing pains in any kind of business will be staffing. It will be staffing. It's
Hmm.
finding quality candidates to help you run your business that you're giving everything in. You're putting everything you can into your business. What's this other person going to do to my business? Can I bring them? Or are they going to be successful in what they want to do? I want to
Right.
set people up for success. I want you to come in this office and be successful with what you do. And I tell everyone this in the hiring. It could be our very first interview in the hiring process. I tell them, I don't. If you see this as long term, I don't want to see you here in 5 years. I do not want you sitting at one of my desks in 5 years. I want you to own your own business or your own
Mm,
agency in 5 years. I
wow.
tell everyone that.
Wow.
And if I hire them or not, the first interview process, these are the kind of people I want. I want people that are going to just take my business and be successful with it and build up their own business within it. And I tell them, like, if you see long term growth in this and you want to be in this industry for the rest of your life, I don't want to see you here in 5 years. I'm going to teach you everything I know about running a business, running the agency, what to expect, hardships, good stuff. And in 5 years, I want you to go off and open your own. I would get more, I'd feel so much better. I'd get more gratitude off seeing you succeed as your own business. Because kind of what happened to me.
Mm.
They poured everything they could into me for 7 years, right? Or 6 years.
Oh yeah.
And look at where it's led me. I want the same thing. You give me 5 years, I'm going to teach you everything I can in 5 years. And in 5 years, I want to see you succeed and open your own.
Yeah, man, you just reminded me of something. Have you ever heard the analogy, the baby and the cow?
I don't believe so.
This isn't a joke. Like I know it almost feels like I'm setting up a joke because you know me so well. But no, a baby you feed and you take care of,
Yeah.
and you do not benefit. There's nothing that you're going to get from it other than fulfillment, right? Feel good, but the cow you feed, you take care of because one day you're going to slaughter it or
Mm.
sell it. And our employees, if you look at them as I hate to say as a baby, but if you look at it like I am going to give you everything I have to help you grow and be the best adult and person that you could possibly be. I'm going to give everything to you, Isaac, and I will find much great fulfillment from that just to see you be successful. Whereas the cow is like there's an ulterior motive of like, I'm going to feed you, plump you up. One day I'm going to eat you, or I'm going to sell you, or we're going to use you for milk
See?
production, and I'm going to
Yeah.
make a profit off of you. So there's two different ways. And I've learned that people, and you have too, Daniel, because I've been the person that felt like I was just a profit machine for somebody. And when profit is low, they don't like me as
Yeah.
much. They don't love me as much as they say they do. And it feels so it's hard to find genuineness in leadership in business is that it's hard to look past a down month for somebody or unprofitable month when they've provided for you for years, and
I've never
and
heard
then
that, but
it's
that
hard
hit
it's
hard.
hard
Yeah.
sometimes.
That's so true.
Mm,
I've never heard that
yeah, well,
analogy, but
good.
that's 100%.
Yeah, and I love like you're the one that said it. I mean, I just put it in a different context. Like you're the one that said like you'll pour into somebody for 5 years just to see them go be successful on their own, that is not
Yeah.
common in our industry at all. So you could say a lot of great agents out there and owners, but that's still not very common. There's not very many people that are doing that. So I give you a round of applause and kudos to that. Like you're not looking for it, but I'm giving it to you because I think it's phenomenal, and I love that you have that outlook. But you know why you have an outlook like that? I've heard this too, is that you're uniquely gifted with your experiences to help people who are going through what you went through.
Mhm.
So you, for 11 to 17, 6 years, you were an LSP or you grew in within that agency and they showed you. So you're uniquely gifted to help people go through that process. Guess what? I didn't have 6 years as a LSP work for somebody. I had, but I did work my way up in retail, right? Like we have a similar path. I went from salesman to store manager to district to overseeing multiple states, 3, 4 states at a time. So I think like we're all gifted differently, right? I'm gifted, I think, in certain ways to bring people to our industry. That's why I created the sales system program that did not require a license to start day one because I want to help people get into our industry because it's man, working Gander Mountain, working in the mall, working at Advanced Auto Parts, all these other big corporations I worked with, like working nights, weekends, holidays, not very fun in the long run, is it? With a family,
It's long.
maybe as a single guy was a lot different, but the more kids and family that I grew, like it was extremely hard on me
Yeah.
emotionally. And it was, what else was worse? I was in charge of 3, 4 states, and I still had the president of the company calling and saying, "Hey, Bo, you need to get your butt in the store at 6 p.m. on Thanksgiving. You
Wow.
need to go show them that you care." And I'm like, I do care. And I have extreme guilt that I don't have to work some of these times now, but I have to make them work it. So Daniel, we did something different this year. Like, so coming up this November, December, we used to say, here's a spiff, you earn it, you get it off. I told everybody we're not working, we're just told them ahead of time. First time in 5 years, say, hey, you don't got to earn it. We are not working Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Kathy, Rachel, and I are going to cover what our big company requires us to be open on those days, and that's it. We will have a spiff for you to earn a day off, or you can use your PTO.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it's unpaid day, but at least now, way ahead of time. Like, hey, go plan something. Go live your life. Like, and we have more than enough opportunities throughout the year to bank PTO, earn PTO, have PTO. And that's the other benefit too, is like, if you just give somebody, just 10 days off in our industry and then they get holidays, it's 17 business days a year, which is like,
That's
what is
crazy.
that? Over
Yeah.
3 weeks, which most people don't realize that, but it's already over 3 weeks, man. I was at, this corporation for 12 years as a high level employee, and I think I only had 3 weeks. So like you think um, like valuing people and understanding that time is the most precious thing that we have on earth is how do you make their time with us the best? And how do you encourage them to have a better life outside of work? Because, Daniel, you know what actually makes me sad? When people say, I'd rather work than go home.
I know.
And it's like, wow, that's crazy to me. Like that, one, that we have such a great culture to you, but two, how sad is it that you don't have like somebody you want to see and hang out with outside of this? Like, kind of does make me
Yeah.
sad,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
I love, like, I'm one of the, I get excited to wake up in the mornings. Like, I can't wait to get into the office. Like,
Mhm.
I love 100%. I love everything that I do, but I also love that time
Yeah,
when I can unplug for a little bit. Because, like you said, we got
so
a
true.
million things going through our minds every single day as owners. In that time when I can just get away from the office and get home and just sit, play soccer, go to dinner, whatever, just that time to unplug just kind of resets me. I'm ready to get, I cannot wait to
Oh,
wake
yeah.
up again the next day.
Yes. So true, but you understand yourself, and I think that's part of like
Mm,
part of why people struggle is they don't understand who they are, maybe who they were created to be, what they were created to do. So many people, Daniel, are seeking for this big career change, ownership, leadership that's going to change their life. And I think it's actually much simpler. I think it's like when you find out who you are and what you were maybe created to do, what makes Daniel special, and maybe Daniel's empathy, and he's poured into the empathy side of being an empathetic leader,
yeah.
and maybe there's somebody who's analytical or a great communicator and they pour into that side of their leadership. When you understand what you were created to do great or good, I say, invest in making that great, but also there's usually an opposite side of that. I love being around people a lot, but the older I get, the more alone time I need. And it's because you pour, give, give, give. If I want the best version of me for everybody else, I have to invest in myself, and sometimes first.
Mm,
If I don't invest in myself first and I don't feel like it, I don't feel good, I'm worn out, I can't give them my best. So if my goal is to give everybody my best, I have to invest in myself, whether it's like eating, drinking, sleeping, or drinking water, sleeping, working out, whatever it is, that reading books, taking alone time, taking a walk. Whatever that is about yourself, I think it's important for us to find out what that is. And sometimes it's like I just need to get home and pick up Isaac, give him a hug, and go play outside with him, and that refreshes me, and tomorrow I'll be good. I think sometimes when we're on these trips, Daniel, you and I, we speak at a lot of the same conferences, attend them, we end up like worn out, and I think sometimes I'm worn out because I'm sleeping alone in a bed without my wife, my seeing my
yeah.
kids, and stuff like the routine that I so long for, and some days feels monotonous, but when you're away from it, you're like, I
I
miss you.
know. I can't stand it. It's
So
tough.
mm-mm. I know. I love that you get to bring Sarah along, and I've brought Kristen to some trips, and I love to see our spouses like connect, and they have this unique
They
bond,
do.
right? That they're like our husbands are coaches and agents, and they have no time, like, but they find time for us, which is amazing. I think it's so fun. So, Daniel, I have this saying, and I think you're gonna like it too. I stopped fighting for a seat at somebody else's table and I built my own. Now I get to invite people to sit with me. So when I was in the corporate world, I was always fighting for a seat at the
Oh
big
yeah.
table every day, every day. And corporations and Wall Street, publicly traded businesses, they pretty much force that. You have to continually prove today why you deserve to sit at this table. And the more I moved up, the more they told me I had a valuable position and pay, and I needed to provide a profit. And it's crazy. My dad told me when I was young, the more you move up, the more you make, the more they'll tell you. The more they'll tell you how much you make and how much you need to
Yep.
provide. And it is so true. And I learned that. And I got sick of like proving and fighting for a seat at their table. So I got good at building tables, and I built one. And I invited the best people to come sit with me and treat them differently. And I don't want people at my table to fight over a
Yeah.
steak. I want them to share steak with everybody at the table, knowing that I'll provide a second steak when that one's done. So I feel so much better in this side than I ever felt on that side of fighting. So I just encourage people. You're in retail, you're working in a job like Daniel did earlier, to encourage you to just take that step. Daniel, what other advice do you have for young leaders, entrepreneurs that are listening to this podcast?
I go back and I look at different industries, and we're looking, we're actively looking right now to add, get into something else, you know,
Hmm.
and stay in insurance. We love what we do here and everything, but we need something else, right?
Yeah,
And so we're looking at some other industries and
I agree.
stuff.
Mhm.
So there's nothing that can't be better than what's out there. And I look at this. We were
Mm.
watching Shark Tank last night.
Uh-huh.
Bombas, a
Love it.
sock company, has done over 200 million sales, and they started a little company. They went on Shark Tank. They did an update. Boombas, Boombas, something like that.
Boombas.
Boombas,
I know
yeah,
Boombas.
the,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
world's
yes.
comfiest sock, a sock company that
Yeah.
started with nothing, got on Shark Tank, and I'm saying that probably helped a lot, right? But they're doing over 200
Yes, yeah.
something $1 million in sales for socks. And I'm sitting here like,
And
we
in
could have
their
thought of a
socks have been
better.
around for a very long
I know. And
time.
we were
Yeah.
sitting there talking. I'm like, there's everything needs to be better. Every industry,
Mhm.
every product, there's something out there. You just got to find it. But I go back and I look at that. I'm like, there's a sock company out here, and we've had socks for so many years and all this. And they just came out and said, we got the comfiest socks in the numbers that they're doing now.
Mm.
So it's just trying to find that market. I think it helps that you have a passion behind what you're doing. Because if you're going to go start
So
a sock
true.
company, but you wear flip flops every day and no socks, probably not the best business for you, right?
Don't believe in
You don't
them?
believe it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you gotta
you got
believe
to
in it.
believe in what you want to do. You got to have a love and a passion for what you want to try. So you got to go back and just spend some time, quiet time. Go to the mountains, go to the lake, something. Just be quiet and just zone out for a few hours and just think about what do you love and how can you make your love a passion and a business, right? I didn't
Mm,
love insurance. I
I
didn't get
love
into
that.
insurance because I loved insurance. I didn't even know what insurance was. I was just trying to sell insurance.
Right,
That's how I originally got into it. And then I fell in love with it because of what happened.
right.
Same thing with what we're trying to do. We're trying to break out. We're trying to do some other businesses. We're sitting here. We're trying to discover what's our passion and how can we help our passion get better? How can we help that industry get better? So it's not an
Mm,
overnight success. It's not a thing like says, you know what? I'm just going to start buying vending machines and be a vending machine guy. If you have no passion for snack foods and sodas, you're probably not going to be good at
don't
it, right?
do it.
So take the time. I love like a little mini retreat where you just go somewhere and you don't do anything.
Mhm. Yeah.
You just
Sabbatical,
yeah,
pray,
just
think, meditate, just do
just
nothing.
focus on
Right.
yourself and your growth and figure out
Mhm.
what you want to do, but use your passion to fuel what you want to do for your business and take that leap. Like I said this earlier in the podcast, take a leap
Mm.
of faith and be successful with what you do. You will be, I promise you, but
Yes.
you've got to get behind what you believe in.
Mm. I love that. I'm actually interested in looking in other opportunities too, but, it's because, I feel like this gifting I've found that other people. So Daniel, I want to tell you a story. When I was a kid and as a young adult, people used to tell me, you can't, you have to pick one thing.
Yeah, right.
And I just never could. I was like, I can't land on one thing.
What's
I
that
don't get
one
it.
thing you want to do the
Maybe
rest of your
I'm like
life? And it's yeah,
bad. Yeah, maybe I'm bad. Maybe I can't, maybe I have a really bad ADD and I can't figure it out. I can't focus. I don't know what I want to do. And as I've gotten older, I said when I realized what so many people called a weakness was a strength in entrepreneurship, it's when it took off. The fact that I can, people like you and I can coach sports, run a business at a high level, coach at a high level, coach and mentor other agency
yeah,
owners at a high level, and run a podcast. I can still spend time with my family, still work out. Like, I think I've found that, wow, when I'm not, when I don't have a lot of things that I love going on, I can get complacent. And I learned this thing to say, learn to be content, but not complacent. Content means like, I don't know the exact definition, but what it means to me, contentment is just that I am blessed with what I have been blessed with. And if this is all I have and all I ever get, I will be so blessed by God. But I can't be complacent and lay around in my contentment of like, I have what I have and I'm so blessed. I'm going to be lazy. I'm not going to do anything. No, I'm going to continue to work hard. And I'm also going to continue to look in the mirror and pray and thank God for everything He's blessed me with and where I've been blessed to come. Because, Daniel, A lot of people that we worked with in retail are still in the same spot that they started
Yeah.
when you and I started as a salesman at Gander Mountain, or maybe one of the shoe stores, Finish Line, that I worked at back in the day, and never grew, never changed. And that's okay for them.
Hmm.
It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to down them for that. It just wasn't my path and it wasn't for me. I believe that, you know, that's where we're going. So, Daniel, what a fun time. It's always a blast talking to you. You're one of my, favorite persons in the world. And I don't say that on this podcast. Like, I don't think I've ever said that
I'm gonna go
actually.
back
You're
and
one of
listen,
my
make sure I listen
favorites.
to
And
all.
we have
Make
so
sure,
much
yeah,
fun.
yeah. I appreciate
You
you having
should
me, man.
now take plug all the podcast into Chat GPT, see if it'll say he mentioned that in episode 7, 11,
You
20.
said it
I'm just kidding.
19 times
I
in
just,
Jeremy's podcast.
but I think there are friends along the way, and this is like my old pastor used to say this: there's friends of the way and friends of the heart.
Yeah,
And I could see a guy like you being a friend for a long
yeah,
time,
for
long,
sure.
long
Same.
rest of my life. So there are people that come in and out of your life, and they are so valuable and important, and it's nice to see them and catch up. And then there's some that where you're like, yeah, for I love like him, and he'll be a friend forever. And I only have a couple of those, so I think it's fun to have people when you meet them, when you're like,
Yeah,
I could see that being a long lifelong relationship. So, dude, you're awesome, and I think what you're doing in business is huge. And I have the saying, like, celebrate employees the same way when they leave like you did when they
yeah,
started. And I really do celebrate people, and I feel like you do too. And that's why we mesh so well, and we can joke about little things because we know the big things are in
yeah.
line with this. So God bless you,
Thanks,
bro. I
man.
appreciate you, man. Appreciate Sarah letting you come on this today, because I know she has to tell you yes to everything that you
Yeah.
do. So I want to thank you, Sarah. I'm just kidding. Wow, what a shot at the
Man,
end.
really?
That's
Well,
that's it.
yeah,
We've
no,
been
that's
too
fine.
serious this whole
I'll text
time.
Kristen right now and let her
But
know that. Yeah.
I'm I'm thankful. I was really thankful when I found out Sarah was not fake or invisible. She has no social media presence, and that's okay.
Nope.
But she is real. Trust me, anybody listening, Daniel's not single. He's married and got a beautiful wife and family. So, Daniel, thank you for
Thanks,
coming on
man.
The Conviction of a Leader. Everybody listening, if you enjoyed this podcast, please let Daniel Austin know, because he needs to know. Who doesn't like to be encouraged and followed and asked more questions? So if you're interested in finding out more about Daniel, how can they get a hold of you and watch some of the most amazing reels out in the
Yeah,
industry?
if you just can, the best way is social media, like everything else. So you can find me on
Yes.
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. My handle is DJ Austin 88 on all my platforms. So DJ Austin 88. Follow along. I love following others, and I love grabbing content from others, and I want people to enjoy my content. So best way to find it, all social.
Is it Daniel Joseph, Daniel
James.
Jones? What is it? Daniel
Yep.
James, DJ
DJ Austin
Austin.
88. I wanted to
So
be a DJ growing up.
all the listeners out there, did you? I wanted to be on radio. Now I'm on a podcast.
Close
So I
enough.
feel like it was pretty
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you all that's listening today. Tune in next Wednesday for The Conviction of a Leader. Thank you all. Have a good week.